What's going on, guys? I know this is something new to the channel, and I know this is the 950,000th tier list video that you guys have seen, but we're gonna see it because I just recently watched every single Marvel movie in preparation for Endgame, and Endgame is, you're gonna see if I think it was bad, or I think it was or I think it was good, or if it was shite. So here we have the tiers. We have God tier, great, good, below average, trash, or shite. So I think we're gonna go from the bottom up, and I'm gonna give my explanation onto why I think each movie deserves where it needs to be. Shite's gonna be shite is gonna be, I gotta say, the first Thor. That's my least favorite one, because they depower Thor so bad.
Where did he come from? You alright?
Hammer?
Yeah, we can tell you're hammered.
Thor's worthless in the movie. You don't even get to see Thor fight. You just see him walk around Earth. And it's like a movie about the gods. I would rather see the god stuff happening rather than him fucking around with Jane Foster and some other, what is it, Kat Dennings' character, which I hate her character so much. It's so terrible. I don't like it at all. I do not like her one bit. But yeah, I know people like the first Thor, but I personally don't like it. I don't think there's one memorable scene from it. That's my least favorite one. Like, I don't think there's a scene where I'm like, hey, that's actually pretty cool. So, and then second, we're gonna have Thor: The Dark World. I think they're both trash. The first two Thor movies are complete garbage in my opinion. I do not like them. These are my least favorite MCU movies. Fun fact, I actually fell asleep during the first Thor. Thor: The Dark World I saw twice, and I feel like that's enough. I feel like I don't gotta see that movie. I don't gotta see that movie ever again, because it just, like, the relationship between Jane Foster and like the like chemistry is so awkward, and then
I know.
You do?
Do what?
the only reason I would say it's over Thor 1 is because they put more like actual Thor lore into it, and like Asgard looks way better than it does in Thor 1, because Thor 1 it looks like a playground. It looks like a CGI playground. In Thor 2 it actually looks kind of nice. There's a good scene with Loki, one good scene, and that's pretty much it for that movie. So so yeah, they're pretty garbage, but other than that, I think we're gonna enter trash, I think. Okay, Iron Man 2 is definitely kind of trash. Like, Whiplash is such a nothing villain. He has nothing to do. The scenes are, it's literally, the whole movie is just literally you watching Tony dick around for 2 hours and be a dickhead to everybody. He even like fights War Machine because he's such a dickhead, and he gets drunk, and he, you know, he doesn't, like, I don't know. It's just like about Tony being a dickhead for 2 hours, and I guess Whiplash is fucking doing his own thing. And then you get to the only cool scene is when War Machine and Iron Man are at the end, and they fight all the robots together. That is the fucking coolest scene in the movie. That's the only cool scene. Other than that, it's just average. It's so average. The only thing that holds it up is Robert Downey Jr. and Don Cheadle and Scarlett Johansson. I like them. And there's some funny lines here and there, but overall, it's not worth another watch. It's definitely my least favorite out of the Iron Man trilogy. This one. I don't understand what people's fascination with Ant-Man and the Wasp is. It's so bad. Like, there's not any reason to watch those movies. Like, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Scott Lang does nothing in his own movie. He does nothing. He gets carried by Hope the whole movie. Ghost is such a nothing villain. Lawrence Fishburne doesn't even have to be there. There's like no redeeming qualities. It just doesn't add up. It's literally just to introduce the quantum realm, I feel like, and that's literally it. Hope steals the show in the movie, and I like that Hulk gets a little bit more to do in this movie. The like Peyton Reed versus the Edgar Wright stuff, you can tell what is Edgar Wright's because it didn't make it into this movie, and this movie's so painfully average. Like, this movie shows that Peyton Reed doesn't have a creative bone in his body, and that he can't make a fucking good Ant-Man movie, and most of the success of the first one and the goodness of the first one was from Edgar Wright. It's just kind of meh at the end of the day. I think I'm gonna put Hulk below average. I know Hulk is a lower tier Marvel movie for some people, but I really think that like Incredible Hulk, it's not too bad. Like it's not like, it's not the most amazing movie, but it's not the greatest movie ever. Like, there's some moments where I think, okay, this is cool, this is cool, this is cool, but mostly I laugh at this movie more than I like it, and I think that's where my enjoyment comes from, because there's one scene where Tim Roth just gets tossed across the fucking forest, and the CGI looks so bad. The CGI in Hulk looks pretty bad, and it just happened, like, it just has some of the funniest moments, I think, because of the CGI looking bad. I think Edward Norton does a good job. I think there's a couple scenes in here and there that I'm like, okay, this is cool, you know, I wish they would have done more than with this, blah blah blah, stuff like that. But overall, it's just kind of no, I'm gonna go Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel is so, like, it's so average. Like, it's okay, there's nothing great about it, there's nothing like too bad, but it's just so, and like some of the shit doesn't make sense. They keep using the Tesseract as like the MacGuffin for fucking like a lot of these movies, and I don't like it. Like, I hate how they keep using that fucking thing as a MacGuffin for those fucking movies, and they need to stop doing that. Also, it retcons a lot of the stuff in the MCU, and I don't really like it because it just doesn't make sense at the end of the day. It's like, okay, well, if they took the Tesseract to S.H.I.E.L.D. in the 70s or whatever, how did, like, in the first Avenger, how did Howard Stark already find it? Like, it doesn't add up in 1945. Like, how did he already find it? Like, that doesn't make any sense at all. Like, and then they try to make her, like, they try to say she's so OP, and, like, I don't know. Like, in an Endgame, I didn't really like her that much more, so I don't know. And Brie Larson, she's okay, she's fine, she's just like this tier, so whatever. Let's move on. Okay, Iron Man 3. I don't think it's that bad. I don't think it's that good either. I think it's kind of in the middle. I'd say I'd rather watch it than Captain Marvel for sure, but probably not more than Age of Ultron, just because I think Iron Man 3 has actually a lot of cool scenes. Like, I think some of the scenes in the movie are really cool, and I like that Tony doesn't have to rely on his suit a lot, and it's actually pretty cool, like, that he can do stuff for himself without the suits. But every scene in this movie is ruined by Shane Black's incredible writing, his top tier writing. It's ruined by his top tier writing, because everyone thinks Shane Black is a god at fucking directing and writing movies, but I disagree. So what happens is, basically, a cool scene would happen, like, for instance, Tony saving all those people out of the plane, and then it gets ruined by a funny moment. Like, I think right after that plane scene, Tony gets hit by a truck, and then it's just like, haha, like, supposed to play for chuckles, but it's like, no, it was just serious. And like I guess the tone of the movie just changes too quickly for me, and it's just really off-putting for me. Like, it's really off-putting. And the kid actor in this movie, he's okay. He's not the best, but I mean, I don't know. But alright, so the next one, I don't know what the next one should be. Okay, no, I lied. It's this one. So, Avengers Age of Ultron. It's kind of eh. It has its redeeming qualities, but this is definitely the weakest one out of the Avengers movies. Like, The Avengers movies are like, the first one's really good. This one has too many plot lines, has too much shit going on. Captain America at the end almost has nothing to do. The Hulk and Black Widow thing is really forced and weird, and I don't like it. I mean, it's okay. Like, they keep hinting at it, and it's kind of weird, and it's just not for me, and I don't really like it. And think Ultron is kind of wasted in this movie, because I mean, I feel like Ultron has much more potential than he does in this movie. Like, I feel like he could come back, and if he comes back, he should be a better villain, but I think he's just wasted in this, because Ultron is a really big bad. Quicksilver as a character is whatever. I don't really care for Quicksilver. Didn't really care for him in this movie when he died. Cool things, Vision is cool. I think this movie has a couple cool scenes, like the roundabout that Joss Whedon does, the beginning of the movie when it shows all the Avengers. Stuff like that is fucking cool. The stuff in the middle, though, is not, because they just talk, and this movie feels like it's way too long as well. Like, it feels like it's about 3 hours, and it's 2.5 hours, and it just feels so long. I just don't understand. I lied. We're gonna put it up here. It's good, but watching it recently, I think it does. It's like. I think it gets worse after every viewing. Like, I just like it a little bit less and less every viewing. So this movie, I think every scene with Killmonger is really fucking good. Like, every scene with Killmonger is my favorite part of the movie. And then there's the rest of the movie. That's the part I don't really like. I don't like Black Panther's suit in this movie. It just looks really weird and like skinny on him. And in Endgame too, like, it looks weird. His suit just looks weird. The new suit that he has looks weird. I think T'Challa's arc that was in Civil War was way better than his arc in this movie. Like, I don't think it's like as good as Civil War. I think his arc is kind of and then that third act, oh my god, that third act CGI fest, like, it's so bad. I just laugh at that CGI, like, it just makes me laugh thinking about it. Like, oh god. But I think Michael B. Jordan kills it in this movie. I think Ulysses Klaue is wasted too. Like, he is such a good villain, but he gets killed, and it's like, well, there's a good villain gone, and now you have to learn more about T'Challa and his people. And I'm like, his people aren't that interesting. Like, Killmonger is the most interesting character in this movie, and Klaue, like, it's like the villains are the most interesting thing, and the heroes are like the things that are like, this is kind of boring. Like, everyone in Wakanda is not interesting to me at all in this movie, but everyone outside of Wakanda is. So, and it's literally like 20% is about the people outside of Wakanda, 80% is about the people inside Wakanda. But overall, I don't think it's bad. I think Killmonger is one of the best villains, and he really lifts this movie up. I think Black Panther has one of the best scenes in the MCU, which is the Killmonger and his dad scene. I think that's really good. Okay, I'm gonna have to put Ant-Man. I do like Ant-Man actually a lot. Ant-Man is like a heist movie. I think this is when, like, the Marvel formula was like, yeah, well, we're not gonna focus too much on the villains, and the villains were terrible, and this villain in this movie is not that good. He just wants to be evil, just like every other villain. I think Paul Rudd does a really good job. I think it's a good way to introduce Ant-Man. I think what he does for the movie is fine. It's just like a short and sweet kind of movie. It's like, yep, that was fun, now we're done. Like, the Edgar Wright scenes are pretty cool, the shrinking down is cool, and yeah, so overall I think it's pretty good. Okay, I'm gonna say Spider-Man Homecoming. I do like this movie, but I feel like as a Spider-Man fan, it kind of just doesn't portray the character like super correctly like I would like it to. And I know I'm not trying to be the Spider-Man fanboys. I accept that the MCU has changes, but I just think that it's just not, like, I just haven't, like, I don't accept it, like, because, like, I just think that what they do, certain things that they do are kind of like, well, you're just kind of making, you know, the character look kind of, you know, dumb, blah blah blah. Like, I think this movie is so miscasted. If this isn't confirmed, but apparently at the end of the movie she is MJ, the Zendaya, and I mean that's fine, but her character is so unlikable in the movie. Her character is basically a fucking Debbie Downer the whole movie, and I just can't stand her. And Flash Thompson, he's not buff or anything. It doesn't look like he could, like, it doesn't look like he could be menacing to Peter Parker. Like, Flash Thompson in the comics is menacing to Peter Parker, and in this movie he's just kind of a dickhead to him. He's not like the bully, he's more of like the, like, they said that they tried to make him more current, like the current bully, but I mean, I just don't buy it. I don't buy that he could beat up Peter. I feel like Peter could whoop his ass, and he's just like a dickhead making like stupid ass jokes. Like Peter, what was it? Penis Parker.
Penis Parker, what's up? So where's your pal Spider-Man? Let me guess, in Canada with your imaginary girlfriend?
Or some shit like that. I was like, what? I was like, why? Why do you even have to do that? Like, it's so cringy to me. But yeah, moving on, I think. Okay, but what I like about Spider-Man is I like Tony Stark's involvement in it, even though he's kind of portrayed as the Uncle Ben kind of character. But I like Tony Stark. I think Tom Holland is cast perfectly. I like Adrian Toomes in the movie. I like Michael Keaton as Vulture. Really like that. I like the guy that plays Scorpion. I like the guy that plays Shocker. So the cast is like 50-50 for me. Like, it's kind of miscast, but then it's not. But other than that, I think the ending, it wraps up a little too quickly for me. But I'm gonna put this one. And Captain America: The First Avenger is good to me. I think it's a good movie. I think the first half is really good. The character building in the first half is so amazing. I really enjoy it. I really enjoy it for what it is. I think the second half is kind of where it falls a little flat, because like you're really introduced to the Captain America character in the first half, and you get to know his character, and you get to really sympathize with his character, and like you get to know his character really well. And after that, it's just kind of like he gets a super soldier serum, he starts kicking ass, and then that's all. It just kind of montages through the fights, blah blah blah, and then like the pacing of the second act is just kind of, or the second half, not the second act, but the second half is weird. It's very weird to me, and it just falls kind of flat. But other than that, it's pretty good. It's a good origin movie. Now, Doctor Strange is pretty high on my list. Well, not really, but it's that good. But I think Doctor Strange is actually pretty enjoyable. I think the end fight with Dormammu was amazing. I really like how creative that is.
Dormammu, I've come to bargain.
I like that. I like seeing this new world, like the buildings and everything, like shapeshift, all that. I really like Mordo in this movie. Mordo is a really good character. I feel like they could really flesh him out in the sequel. I really like the way his character arc is, that he thinks that there's too many wizards, and that he wants to get revenge because he's seen like that he's been lied to his whole life by the Ancient One, and that he finally is sick of it. And I really like that. I feel like they could really flesh him out. I think the only thing I dislike is Stephen Strange is a little bit of a dickhead sometimes. Like, people are trying to help and he's just a big cocky bitch. But I mean, that's kind of Iron Man 1 too. I mean, honestly, it's Iron Man 1 as well, so I don't really mind it. But yeah, other than that, I think the villain in the movie is pretty bad. It's one of the worst. I think Dormammu is a really good villain, though. I feel like they could flesh him out. I really love this movie for Mordo and the last kind of act, and I like seeing what they could do with the character, like Doctor Strange in the future, because I feel like Doctor Strange has a lot of potential coming out of this and Endgame.